Hello everyone. It's June the 26th today, and I thought I should give you a quick update on what's going on here in the skies. The sun entered Cancer on the 21st of June. This is always a big moment when the sun is highest over the northern hemisphere of this planet, and that is the beginning of summer. And what we see here in this chart, once again, Uranus is very pronounced here. Uranus and the North Node, they are approaching each other from the opposite sides. Uranus moving forward, the lunar node moving backwards, and they will meet by the end of July. And they already have this strong connection. Uranus at the North Node, and you remember I showed you numerous charts of Uranus extremely powerfully placed. For example, the one which dates back to January the 4th, which I talked about many times, the Earth's perihelion, when Earth was closest to the Sun, and the aphelion is just coming up on July the 5th. This will be something we will talk about in a week or so, in my next recording. So Uranus and the North Node, this is the direction of evolution. Uranus is in charge. Uranus is renewal, the age of Aquarius, you could call it too. It is that new edition of reality we're getting into, which it's still polarized. There's two potential outcomes: the technocratic transhumanist on one side, and the free energy and enormous potentials for entering new dimensions, the Great Awakening. On the other side, they're both very Uranian. It is the time of change, that is for sure. So the moon was here in the early degrees of Aries when the sun entered Cancer, in a applying conjunction with Jupiter. So this is entering its fire, first of all, the fire of action, of excitement, of going into a new direction, lots of enthusiasm in a way, but also it's that Martian energy of conflict and of squaring your sword with your opponent. And sure enough, we still have the war going in the Ukraine. Interesting, the ascendant here in Greenwich, the global ascendant in that sense, that is the degree where the Ukraine has their sun at 055. That is dating back to the Independence Declaration of August the 21st, 1991, or the 24th of August, I guess it is. Yeah, you can go back. I did a recording on that chart, which shows that whole conflict which is going on. And so this is definitely pushing the whole Ukraine energy more into the limelight. It's one of the keystones of awakening the greater public. If we look at Europe, how they are suffering from all these so-called sanctions, which are really not doing any harm to Russia, really, but they are doing tremendous damage to all the people who live in Europe. There's a great awakening there too happening regarding all the Ukrainian refugees, which there's lots of disappointment. So there is something brewing there, and as I pointed out already in my earlier recording, August will likely be the time when people are starting to rise up against their governments and are not tolerating the way they are treated any longer. We already see first signs in Austria, for example. They reversed all these extreme vaccine laws. So they're pedaling back. They're already trying to limit the damage, take some tension off from their people standing up. So they want to kind of appease people. I guess it's too little too late. It will not change the general tenor. Then more and more people are waking up to what is going on, how they have been cheated. That is all visible too. Here we have an exact 30-degree angle between the black moon, Lilith, some astrologers call the black moon, which makes sense in many ways. It is the energy of Lilith or Kali in the Hindu tradition of extreme darkness on one side, revenge and all the dark and difficult emotions, and this energy point, which is where the moon is farthest away from Earth. That's why I like to call it the black moon or the lunar apogee, the mean lunar apogee to be exact. It is an energetic point in space. There is also an asteroid called Lilith, so that's the main reason I'm kind of staying away from that name. But there's this exact 30-degree angle with Mercury, which has been here at 7 degrees and 40 in Gemini. Here it is, just a lot going on here, 7 degrees 30. So a 30-degree angle, the semi-sextile, that's kind of a sibling energy of, there's some rivalry on one side, but there's also a kind of a helping each other out and making a good team, being strongly bonded. It is always that energy of the semi-sextile, which generates a lot of momentum in itself. It's definitely an aspect which is not honored enough in many of the astrological forecasts. It's an important aspect, a minor aspect though. So this in itself showed that there is a disillusionment happening in these next 3 months. The Virgo rising here again in a perfect 90-degree angle. Well, perfect is maybe exaggerated, but by 1 degree exact to Sedna. We talked about Sedna. Sedna was prominently placed when the Earth was exactly aligned with the galactic center a few days ago. And Earth was here at 27 degrees and 10 minutes in Sag. So it seems that there's a repetition of the same theme. Sedna again is embracing all that mysterious and difficult and dark memory of which really is coming into this dimension, Sedna being the one which comes back from an 11,000 plus year orbit around the sun, bringing all these deep mysteries to light in a conjunction with Venus nevertheless. So overall it is a challenging few months ahead, as we all know. I mean, it will stay that way. Don't expect a fast resolution. It will go organically, step by step. I see a big breakthrough but not before February 2023. Really, up to then, we are really gradually getting stronger, building more momentum. I mean, we have come far. If we compare it to where we were half a year ago, all the mandates have been flushed down the toilet now, and traveling is again possible without those jabs. The resistance of people has been definitely much, much greater than expected, so they had to pedal back on all levels. They're trying in other ways. They're trying with the financial breakdown, which is probably one way they're still pushing. Then we might see major earthquakes or things like that. That's possible towards the end of July, early August. It's possible, I say, at this point. Hopefully this can be avoided. It again depends on how these frequencies are received, how we manage to lift them, to bring them into a higher frequency expression. So we will see. Anyway, this is the starting point here of that a little series of charts I'm sharing with you. Then a day after, pretty much within hours of that Cancer ingress of the Sun, we had Aspolus exactly conjunct the galactic center for the third time. Actually, not conjunct. This is wrong. It is an opposition. Sorry for that little mistake. So it's the opposition, Aspolus here in opposition to the galactic center at 2710 here in Sag. So that body Aspolus has been on and off for the last year or so, very closely aligned with that opposition point of the galactic center. Aspolus is fascinated by the dark, by the difficult, by the mysterious. It's a problem solver. It's the energy of the Sherlock Holmes investigative interest in all the dark secrets and the difficult themes. It's a fascination with light, with the dark, and bringing light into it. Interesting, when this was exact for the third time, and Aspolus is now moving forward. Aspolus is, by the way, is a Centaur planet, has, I guess, something like a 76-year orbit around the Sun. So when this was exact, you see the Sun here pretty much at the fourth house cusp, and Jupiter rising, Jupiter here in this big T-square, which just started to get activated on the 22nd with Jupiter, Maki here, then here on in Cancer we have the Black Moon, and here it's Pholus and Quaoar, and we will get to talk more about that in the next few minutes as we move on. But this already has been activated, this Grand Cross here, with this Aspolus activation on the 22nd. Then the next chart I'm showing you was a Mars occultation on the 22nd. You see the moon here is at 11 degrees Aries when Aspolus was conjunct the galactic center, and then a day later when Mars had its conjunction with the moon, Mars was disappearing behind the moon. This is what an occultation means, at least partially in some areas on this planet. Mars disappeared. Occultations are always very special. It is the lunar energy getting soaked with this planet's energy. The moon and Mars is courage, is the energy of rebellion, of not tolerating what is going on any longer. So this is getting, or this has been really been received, and is now, it's like these strong moments. I'm talking about these key moments. That's markers. This is where you put a milestone in the ground. This is the beginning of how an energy will start to manifest over the course of the next month. In this case, as it takes the moon about a month to travel once around the zodiac. So every month we have a Moon-Mars conjunction. Then the next interesting chart was the Pluto-Haumea square. Now Pluto and Haumea are both very slow. They are actually, Haumea takes about 308 years to travel once around the zodiac. Here we have the lineup of all these 26 conjunctions the two have. Their last conjunction, sorry I said it wrong, squares I'm talking about here, but their last conjunction dates back to 1955. So since then they have been separating. Pluto is moving faster. Now on the 8th of May they had the first square, and there will be about 13 squares here in the next few years, and then there's another series of squares. Pluto then will slow down. Haumea will get faster again, so they're kind of moving at different speeds. So by the end of the century, 2097 till 2102, there will be another series of 13 squares. So pretty much through the whole century these two are in a square aspect. So what does that mean really? Pluto is the power structures in a very general way here in Capricorn, which are being challenged by Haumea. Haumea is a creation energy, also about reform and restructuring, making the whole of society, remodeling it. And Haumea, named after a Hawaiian goddess of creation. It's about fire, the creation from fire. So this is a very powerful energy of renewal, you could say. Interesting that on that very day we had that reversal of that Roe versus Wade, which generates huge waves. So there's no surprise there, particularly so as here this global chart here with the 3 degrees Leo rising, which is a powerful degree of leadership, of going first. And there is a perfect square here with Hygeia, health, well-being, Rhadamanthus, righteousness, and also the honor of life in that sense. So this was really interesting that Hygeia actually has been conjunct Rhadamanthus for 3 times in a row, and stationed on the 16th of June, just something like 10 days ago, here at 252 or a little less. But within these few weeks there was this conjunction exact, and I just wanted to see how it looks when they have their 3rd and last conjunction in this cycle. That is actually happening tomorrow early morning. Excuse me. At 3:02. And Hygeia from here on will move faster again, and Hygiea takes about 5 years or so to once travel around the zodiac. So Hygiea and Rhadamanthus, I think this is definitely connected to that overturn of that law, which enabled all these millions of abortions, which I mean is a whole industry, and it's something which is dividing population. Many people think this is not a good thing, but if you know how precious life is, then this is definitely correct, that we should save these unborn children. I'm not completely against it in the first 8 or 12 weeks if the situation demands it. I think it should be allowed for something like that, but that's how it is in Switzerland, where I come from. You're under special circumstances you're allowed to abort a fetus until I guess the 12th week or so, which is also way before the soul really lives in the body of that small fetus, when it's not yet fully ready to receive a soul. So anyway, this is a big controversy, and interestingly enough, that was overturned on the 24th when we had that Pluto-Haumea conjunction, when it was exact. Now this Hygiea-Rhadamanthus conjunction, that third one, you see here even more so the sun at sunrise here opposing Quaoar and Pholus. We talked about Quaoar and Pholus. They had an exact conjunction, the first of many again over the whole next century, also spread out till I guess 2070 or something. That was actually exact on the 22nd of February, that 22222 day, which I did the recording at the time. Pholus is the courage to go into a new dimension, the final step to do something which long had been procrastinated on. Quaoar is a creation force, but it always starts with breaking through some difficult barriers, allowing for some painful experience, but it's like you have to smash a window to get into freedom. That's kind of what I get the feeling for with Quaoar often. So we have this opposition here with the sun, the black moon, Quaoar, Pholus, and then Jupiter here, T-squaring, and that is even more exact on the upcoming new moon of the last day of this month, but we will get there in a second. There were another couple interesting aspects on the 24th. There was the last of 3 conjunctions of Pherois with AW197 here in early Virgo. AW197 is the art of war, the ability to receive all the moves from the dark forces and then turn them around in a intelligent way and make best use of it. So it is really what we're seeing happening on this planet right now, that these dark forces are allowed to make all their moves, and Pherois then is the fierce energy of protecting the the weak, those who need our support. So it is the necessity to wake people up, and it naturally works that way. You have to allow for the dark forces to make their moves, which then will generate the necessary momentum to bring people behind each other together. That's kind of the energy of this conjunction in early Virgo. It's all about that breaking free from that collective slavery we are in. But again, people have first to experience it to be able to do the right thing, so to say. So then Uranus moved the first time in this 84-year cycle past the 1730 degree mark. That is, if we use the dwarfs, 2.5 degree segments, which is the fractalizing of the 12 signs. Every 2.5 degrees a new energy kicks in. 2.5 degrees fully Taurus, then from 2.5 to 5, that's Taurus of the Gemini undertone. So from 1730 till 20, this is the Sagittarian undertone or overtone, or however you want to call it, of Taurus. So Sagittarius, again, the sign of a higher perspective, greater vision of the fight for freedom and for liberation is strongly activated, and this occurred here just hours after the Uranus occultation. Actually, I skipped that one. Let me just quickly go back here. Yep, that was the 6th of 15 Uranus occultations. So there was lots of things happening on that 24th of June. No wonder this was an important turning point in many ways, as it will show itself in the next few weeks. And then on the 28th, Neptune will change direction, and then we are getting into the Cancer new moon, which is strongly emphasizing the dark moon energy. Again, this is a clear sign that yes, we're getting to that place where the shadow has to be fully embraced, where we are, where it's necessary to allow that rage to come to the forefront. It's a great disillusionment which we are seeing happening, and once again this T-square Sun Moon, Black Moon, Earth over here with Quaoar and Pholus, T-squaring Maki Maki, which is the courage to stand up and to take on a big challenge, magnetized by Jupiter in a most perfect square to the Sun here and the Moon. Only 4 minutes of arc. So this will be a dramatic 4-week period we're getting into, most certainly. Really getting to the base of all the issues, and it is the necessary precursor of that revolution, which I talked about quite many times now, which I see really taking on serious forms in August, probably going then for a few months into probably January, February 2023, when we will clearly push these so-called self-made leaders, because it's I mean, they pretend that they are elected, and as we now know, that all these elections have been fabricated, have been rigged. This is no secret anymore. See Uranus here in a perfect T-square again to the ascendant, to the midheaven and the 4th house cusp in the 12th house. So it's coming from a hidden angle, this opposition. It's growing in the dark. I mentioned before, it's almost like you have a pool of water, and one atom at a time this liquid is changing from water molecules to gasoline. You can't see it, the change, unless you throw in a match, and then it all of a sudden explodes, goes off. So that's what we see happening, or not see happening, because it's really in the hidden. One by one, people are waking up. Nobody knows of everyone else, really. Nobody knows how many, what's the percentage of how many have been really turned around, changed from water into a fuel potential atom. And it just needs that little moment when something is sparked, and then the whole thing goes off. So that's where we're getting to. Interesting also, just want to give you a little peek ahead. This is then the moment when Earth is at the farthest point from the Sun, which is coming up on the 4th of July. And once more we have that 17th degree of Leo and Aquarius here, this time in the ascendant descendant axis. Again, T-squaring Uranus. Actually, I have here, this is the heliocentric chart. Let me just change it so you see it's even more exact than that, 1554. Let me just quickly go there. Okay. Is it this one? No, 1556, that's the one. This is the one, right? So it just takes a minute here to shift. Alright, here we are. Yeah, it's always a little slow here. Okay. Too many windows open, then it takes a little longer. Where are we here? Okay, and then we reopen it. Anime chart. Okay, yeah, here you go. You see pretty exact, 1750 to 1744. Yes, Uranus is the planet of this year, you could say. Uranus in Taurus, bringing it down into the physical universe, giving it a body, an appearance, a form, a shape, something we can recognize. Uranus is that high frequency which needs to be grounded to become visible. And here we have this exact same degree in the midheaven and midnight axis. And if we look at this moment of the new moon from the heliocentric perspective, another planet stands out here, which is Neptune, in a most exact T-square here to the horizon axis. Well, I guess this is also not too much of a surprise. Neptune is still very, very strong in the sense of deception, confusion. Nobody really knows what's going on. Everything is convoluted, everything is in constant motion with all the fake and intentionally misleading information out there, all the propaganda. The positive side of that, I keep repeating, is that it really brings each and every one of us to come to understand that it's all about discernment. We cannot just take anything at face value. You have to go and do your own research, look things up, try to find sources of a different kind who are either confirming or giving you more from the source information directly from where things happen. So this is the line of charts I have gotten ready here for you. Actually, there's one more here. This is then a day after new moon. This moon by now, by the 30th of this month, has reached here at 21 degrees Cancer. And that is when the sun and the black moon are in perfect alignment. So this is kind of when we are focusing in on the core of the shadow. And to no surprise, Mars here at its highest point over the zero meridian on the global zenith, in a applying square to Pluto, and applying square also to the moon, Mars, Pluto, T-square. So this is quite a violent aspect, so we can definitely expect that rage to at least in certain areas to become a real problem, a real issue. So yes, stay away from confrontations. Let it play out and be the ambassador of peace if necessary. It's all important, and if someone has been deceived, it's natural that rage arrives. So we have to allow this to a certain degree, hopefully, to provide alternative solutions than the blind rage of destruction, or at least to bring the focus on where these energies should be directed to get it to the real addressee who deserves to be receiving these emotional charged energies. The moon in conjunction here is Ceres in opposition to Arrokoth and Hylanome. It has definitely to do with all the victims of this jabbing campaign and the awakening of how devious it is to now try to put that poison into innocent children, 0 to 7 years old. It's just unbelievable. It's beyond any yeah, I mean, you know what I mean. It's just terrible. So, but these things have to come into the light And once again, Uranus is here in a powerful pole position. It won't be an easy month to come. It's like a dough which has to rise first, and it is that force of fermentation in society which is bringing the temperature to the place where a self-ignition will take place. Again, enjoy life, enjoy the beautiful small things, go out in nature, be recharged by the sunlight and by the rain and the natural elements. Ground these powerful celestial energies. Keep peace at heart. Know that this is important, that we have to navigate through these treacherous waters in many ways before it gets any better. And it will get better. The future is extremely positive, as we are hearing from many people who have that connection to what's coming. And if we tune into our own higher self, into our own future self, then we will get the confirmation, yes, it will get better. But again, it is what it is for now, and I hope you will hold that energy and manifest the best out of it. Thank you so much for joining and listening, and talk to you soon. And give it a like or subscribe if you wish. Okay, bye for now. Love you all.